Rural Heritage on RFD TV is brought to you by Rural Heritage Magazine, a bi-monthly magazine featuring articles about farming and logging with draft animal power, small-scale diversified family farming and homesteading, and other aspects of our rich rural heritage. Rural Heritage Magazine, borrowing from yesterday to do the work of today. For subscription information, please call 319-362-3027 or order online at www.ruralheritage.com.
You raffle off a horse every year. Pretty good fundraiser for you?
Yes. I think we make probably around 2,000 or more.
Is the horse usually donated or?
No, we buy them.
Yeah, right.
But we get a good deal on it.
Sure. Do people usually take the horse then, or do they sometimes sell it?
Usually they do.
Uh-huh.
And then if they sell it later, I don't know.
Of course
but
not. Right.
And I would say half and half of the time that people are here to claim it, and the other half they're not.
Yeah.
So then what happens if they're not here, then usually one of the board members takes it to their house, and then they call them to come and pick it up.
You never have like a 14-year-old buy a bunch of tickets and then surprise his parents that he won a horse or anything like that?
No, but one year, probably about 7-8 years ago, we had a grandpa buy one for his 3-month-old granddaughter, and she won from Elk River.
That's a great story.
Mm-hmm.
And did not the granddaughter, but the son or the daughter know that was happening?
I have no idea.
Yeah, right.
No.
That might be a surprise.
But I'm sure that probably what happened is they sold it and then put the money in her college fund or something.
Yeah,
I don't know,
right,
but
right.
that
Sure.
was because at that year the guy was there
Uh-huh.
and he said it was his granddaughter.
That's neat.
That's a McCormick, yeah. They might have IH in the cast, but they don't know. I'm not older stuff in. Here, now you got it shut down. Now you can open her up. Let everybody look in there.
Yeah. Sammy, can you step back so we can...
These are the knives.
Yep.
It seemed fairly sharp, but it really pulls down there, doesn't it?
There's a cutter bar right down here.
That's getting
That's got to be set up or else.
Yeah, it's getting too.
How high do you think you can throw it? 30 feet.
30 feet?
Yeah. 30-foot silos years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's quite a gap between that cutter bar and
I think you moved that right here, see.
the knives.
That didn't come through with board. It's in about 2 inches.
I gotta ask you again.
Yeah. Put this to the back, maybe it'll fall. There you go. That's the tailor's part. Bob's got it.
Say hi, say cheese.
Hi, I'm Joe Mischka of Rural Heritage Magazine. I'm on location of one of the many events we cover that celebrates our rural heritage. If you enjoy our show, check out our magazine, where you'll learn more about the people that blend the past with what works today. You can save almost 20% off the newsstand price by subscribing at ruralheritage.com or chat with us at 877-647-2452. That's toll-free, 877-647-2452.
My name is Mel Klein. I'm from Clearwater, Minnesota. These are two of my 4 Percherons. I've got 2 more at home. This one is Major. He's 16 years old. And the one on the other side is Matt, and he's 10. Each of the horses weigh right around 1,950 pounds. I've had Major since he was 3, and I've had Matt since he was 6. Before we go and we want to get the horses harnessed to go out into the field, to give a ride, or whatever the case may be, one of the first things we do is to make sure that they're good and clean. Using a brush, we make sure we clean all the areas, particularly around the neck where the collar's going to fit, across their back, and across the rear end because of the spider and the britchin back in here. I like to clean the tails up, make sure they're all free and not all knotted up, as well as doing the manes up on top. We've cleaned the horses up. Now we're ready to start the harnessing process. Now, the first question I'm going to ask you folks is, we're going to harness the horse. Are the horses pushing or pulling the load? Push, push, push. Any pullers? Okay, that's correct. The horses are actually pushing the load. When they get in behind the collar, they're pushing up against their shoulders up in here, and they're pushing the load forward. That is what it's commonly called, but we do say, well, they're pulling the wagon or whatever. But in essence, they are pushing. These are the collars. My collars, I use what's called an adjustable collar. I've got 3 different settings in here. I can change it from a 26, 25 down to a 24, whatever the case may be. Based upon how the horse has been treated or worked during the spring, he may be pretty fat and sassy in the spring, but by the time a couple weeks into plowing and all that, he may have to have the collar shortened up a little bit, so then I can adjust it here rather than getting another collar. So I do like the adjustable collars. Some don't, and that's fine and dandy. Whatever suits your taste. The other thing that I do that I have is I have what's called a collar pad on the inside. To me, my rationale behind it, it's just like putting a pair of socks in a boot. Just gives that horse a little bit more cushion underneath the shoulder, that kind of thing. I don't work my horses where they're working 6 days a week. I don't have an active farm or anything like that there. So their shoulders really don't get hardened up like some of them would. One thing that I've gone to the last couple years now is this vinyl collar pad. A little bit different than the cloth ones that some of you see. And the difference is that this will not absorb their sweat. It runs down across their shoulders and so forth. So that in turn makes it a little bit cleaner operation. I still have to watch for overheating and that kind of thing, but it's not like the old cotton pads where it absorbs the sweat. It takes forever and a day for it to dry out. So keep that in mind. If you watch when I put the collar on Major, he's actually going to almost push his head right through the collar. I don't have to unbuckle any of this. Everything's to size. I can go in here. Whoa, Matt. I take the lead rope, and he's pushing right through there, and it fits right on there. First thing I'm going to do is once I got the collar on, is I go in here and I actually pull his mane out from underneath the collar. That can just be a source of building up some sores underneath there if you don't pull it out. So now we've got the collar on. Again, let's look at this for just a second. We've got the horse facing you. Ma'am, is this collar too small for him? Too big, or what would you say?
I know nothing about him.
Okay. Generally speaking, what you want on the collar, pulling the load, pushing the load, I'm not cutting off his windpipe, giving him room to breathe yet, but it's just that my hand will slip in there. If I get it too long, then my line of draft. Right on this side and on the other side is some wear bars on the collar. If this gets too low with a longer collar, then the point on the shoulder is wrong, and I end up with a sore horse, sore in the shoulders. If I turn around and get it too small, then he gets up like this here, and then I cut his wind off. So that's where you want to look at where your collar sits on your horse. You don't want it too long, you don't want it too short, but just so that when he pulls heavy, he's got some place that he's still got room to breathe, okay? So that's what we do on the collars. Next, we're going to come with the harness. My harness hooks are set up over here, and what I've got is the first thing that I do is I take the Bridling and I put that on my shoulder, the top of the spider. That's on my shoulder. My arm goes through this part here, and this is called the back pad. And I've got a hand on each of the hames, like this here. I'm going to pick this up, and I'm going to throw it over the horse. Oh, but throw it up. With my left hand, I merely push the back pad over, and then with my right hand, I push the rest of the harness over on his back. I don't go to the rear of the horse until I've got the hames, and these metal tubes right here with the chrome balls on top are called the hames. I don't do anything till I get the hames set in the harness, into the collar. I've got it adjusted that I want the same distance on top on each side. Then I know that I've got the hames centered on the collar, centered on the horse's shoulder. Bringing this in, first thing I'm going to tighten is what we call the bottom hame strap. Now, I don't need to pull this very tight, do I? Yes, I do. Why? That's correct. I want this as tight as I can possibly get it. This is the breast strap holding up your pole. This strap here is called your pole strap. This is called a combination snap. Now, one safety thing that I do is I take and run my belly band through this loop in my pole strap. Goes like so, and then I buckle it. What I'm doing here is I'm helping create another avenue of stopping the wagon from going forward. And I'll explain that in just a minute. That's in place. I undo my quarter strap from the one side. I bring my Bridling back over the rear of the horse on both sides. Now I'm going to turn around. Before I go and tighten everything here, I'm going to take this little piece right here. Anybody know what this is? What is that, sir? A crupper, that's correct. Any horse's butt knows what this is. Okay, I'm going to pull it back. I'm getting the harness all lined up. I'm going to pick up its tail and stick it up underneath. Now, I'll explain just a minute how the crupper is connected to the bit. So hold on just a second. We've got the harness well back there. I can come up underneath here. Connect one side of the quarter strap. Come around to the other side and connect this side. Now, these quarter straps underneath here, all they're there for is to help you brake and stop your load. Remember, you got a pole coming up between the horses, right? The pole is connected to your neck yoke. The neck yoke gets snapped into the combination snap. The combination snap's connected to the pole strap. The pole strap's connected to your quarter straps, and your quarter straps come and go around the Bridling on the back. So, this is how it's set up. Now, I mentioned earlier about my belly band going through the pole strap. If I take and undo, I break a quarter strap. It's busted. Donnie, if you'd pull on that pole strap combination, I still got stopping power because my belly band is connected around from the billet, back pad, and my belly band. So it just gives me another avenue to keep the load behind me, behind the horse. So that's more of a safety feature than anything else. So that's what that's all about there. The other thing I want to talk about in just a minute, you look like you're smart. Well, let me find somebody else. No, no. Is this a left-hand horse or a right-hand horse in a hitch? Huh? I'm behind the horses. Is he on the left or the right? Huh? They're both on the outside. Is he on the outside on the left or on the right? This is a left-hand horse. And how do you know that? This snap. That's correct. Anytime you have a horse or two horses on the hitch and the wagon, you want this combination snap to the outside of the horse. The other horse is over there, the snap is here. He goes and he rubs his bit or halter or anything on here, he has a hard time getting this hooked into the snap. If this was turned around, he could very easily get a bit ring, harness ring, anything caught in this combination snap. Another thing that if you notice real careful, this snap and the one on the other side are set up the same way. They can rub their chin up against it and they're not going to get anything caught here. I've got the snaps going to the inside so they don't get hooked. If this is turned around, like so, anything with a ring on it could turn around, get caught, get pushed in there, and then you're messed up. Here that horse is hooked, he can't get loose. So that's, those of you that are harnessing, I encourage you to take all of your snaps and in fact turn them to the inside like this here, and you don't have anything getting caught. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the bridle. We take the bit, he opens his mouth, puts his head down a little bit, lets me turn around, get it under his ears, and pull it back. Now, first thing I'm going to do is the chin strap, chin chain. All I need is a finger's width underneath here. That's all it takes. Okay? From there, I'm going to make sure that the throat latch is done. The throat latch is probably one of the most important things you've got to worry about, is that you want this as tight as you can possibly get it without cutting the air off to the horse. And you get two horses, draft horses together, they rub each other either because there's flies or sweaty or something. They could very easily, this goes out over the top of their head, you're done. You got no control whatsoever. So I want this on here good and tight as I can get it. I can still get my hand underneath here so I'm not cutting off his wind, but I don't want this headstall to come off of this bridle. Okay? From there, I'm going to take this overcheck. I'm going to run it back through, put it underneath my driving lines, and snap it in. The whole idea behind the overcheck is we don't want that horse going down and nibbling on grass or whatever when you're doing rides across the hayfield or whatever. His head is still free to move up and down.
This program is available for purchase. To order your copy, please call 319-362-3027 or visit www.ruralheritage.com. Rural Heritage is a bi-monthly magazine dedicated to draft animal farming and logging, as well as other aspects of our rich rural heritage. It is published by Mischka Press, which also offers a complete line of back-to-the-land books, DVDs, and calendars. Call or write for a catalog or subscription information, or visit our website at www.ruralheritage.com.